So let's start with Dwight. So Dwight's backstory is pretty simple, but it's kind of sad. So basically he's like a super geeky kid in high school, and he really wants to be cool and popular, but it's just not working out for him. He doesn't have the charisma. He tried out for the football team, but he was cut. The basketball team wasn't even interested in him, and he had bad grades. And one weekend he went on a team building exercise from his dead-end job, and his boss like took them into the woods, which sounds really sketchy. And then he also gave them moonshine, which isn't he in high school? So this is illegal. But anyways, and then Dwight took a sip, and then suddenly he woke up the next morning alone. So everyone had left him behind. So again, he was the laughing stock of the community. He tried to make his way out of the woods, and that was the last anyone ever heard of him. So I guess he was taken by the entity. So, you know, what I like about this story though is that it's very like, there's nothing crazy going on. There's no supernatural stuff going on. I kind of like that it's so simple in a way. And it makes you really feel bad for Dwight. And you might even wonder, like, is he happier now than he was before? Now let's move on to... So Meg seems to be somewhat of a feisty kid, and it says maybe it was her mom that instilled the fierce streak in her, or maybe it was her father that left them that she was a baby. So she doesn't have a dad, pretty much. She was really good at school, but she was off the rails, and an athletics coach encouraged her to channel her misspent energy on the track. So I guess she took up track as a way to, as an outlet, I guess, for herself. And she motivated herself into becoming a high school star, and she got a scholarship to college. But her mom got sick, so she decided to give up her chance at college to care for her mom. And then one summer's day on a long run deep in the woods, Meg vanished, and they never found her body. So I guess she was taken by the entity at this point. I feel like maybe taking care of her mom was really taking a toll on her mental health or something. So she kind of was trying to run away or something. Like, it doesn't really, at no point does it explain how Meg was feeling. And when it says like she was off the rails, like, what does that even mean? Like, it doesn't say, oh, she was into, you know, dangerous activities. So from the day that her parents gave Claudette her first science kit, she loved experiments. Her single-minded pursuit led to an early scholarship at a great college, and it was a huge decision for her to leave her hometown, but the chance was too good for her to pass up. Claudette is super introverted, so it seemed like she only talked to people through chat rooms and forums for social interaction, and she liked answering botany questions for others under the moniker of Science Girl. And someday, during a long bus ride back from the city, she took a stroll that would change her life. She got disoriented in the woods, and she never found her way back, and her forum only started to wonder where she was a week after she stopped posting. So honestly, this is really sad, because I feel like that last line about her forum only wondering about her a week later, like, makes you really think that no one really cared about her. Like, she was kind of a loner and didn't really have very many friends and stuff that cared about her. And also she was so introverted that she only talked to people through social media rather than in real life. Again, this story, like from the backstory alone, there's really not that much detail about her. It does make me feel sad for her that people didn't care that she was gone for like a week, because I feel like that's a really long time. And she seems like a nerd, which I like about her. That's pretty cute. But yeah, there's really not much details in this backstory. It doesn't really make sense, like, why the entity would take her. And there wasn't really any negative aspects to her life, you know, whereas like Dwight and Meg had some life trauma going on. Like, Claudette seems to be fairly happy. She's just an introvert. So next we have Jake. So Jake grew up the son of a wealthy CEO, and he had a lot of pressure on him because his brother graduated with honors from Yale. And Jake wasn't the academic type, but his dad didn't really understand why he wasn't. And he was, paying for Jake's school and stuff, so he doesn't understand why Jake isn't into it. And eventually Jake rebelled by dropping out of school entirely. Now he lives off the grid on the edge of the woods. It's been years since he spoke to his father, but his mother checks in once in a while. It was she who eventually called the police. The cops said he got lost in the woods and a search party looked for days but gave up as bad weather rolled in. And despite pleas from his mother, they never resumed the search, and he went down in history as another casualty of the woods.
Okay, so starting with Trapper. Evan is the son of Archie McMillan, wealthy landowner of the McMillan estate. Whilst Evan is still young, both his mother and uncle mysteriously die. Evan is sensitive and cares for his father's workers, who are abused by his harsh control of them. He makes friends with them, and they tell him of their plans about a union that will get them better wages and working hours. Evan keeps their union secret, but his father sees something is wrong. When hunting in the woods, Archie tells Evan about how his uncle died, killed by a bear. Evan doesn't believe him, sketching out a picture of his father in a bear costume killing his uncle, and another of him drowning his mother. Archie is sick of his weakness, and drags Evan down to the mines. One of the workers says something about his mother, and Evan snaps, beating the man, before getting dragged away by the authorities. Archie discovers Evan's drawings and tells him he knows about the union, and that his friends sold him out. Evan gains a newfound respect for his father, and a disgust for the workers, becoming his enforcer as he grows frail. His father demands one day that he go to the mines and murder the workers by trapping them inside. He does this, but seeing the weakness of his father, kills him also. After the mass murders in the mines, McMillan estate is investigated, but Evan is nowhere to be found. Philip Ajomo loses both his parents during the Nigerian Civil War, and further his grandmother. Before his father's death, his father leaves him with a bell, which he tells him to ring whenever there is danger. Left alone, he stumbles on in search of help, finding a woman named Fernanya, who attempts to give him hope. Despite this, she is soon tortured and killed also. This enrages Philip, who finds the people who killed her, burning them alive. A decade later, Philip has moved on to live in America. He suspects his boss is up to something illegal, but Philip doesn't care, as long as he isn't involved. One day when crushing a car, he sees blood seeping from the crusher. He opens the boot to find a man. His boss walks over, killing the man, before confessing that every car Philip has crushed contained a person. Philip is enraged, killing his boss and ripping out his skull and spine. When police later investigate the wrecker's yard, a strange fog is seen and Philip is gone. Wealthy Coldwind Farm landowners Max and Evelyn Thompson have a son who they name Boy, due to being so ashamed of his disfigured appearance that they don't even give him a proper name. They abuse Boy, scalding him with hot water, beating him and locking him in a small and dark room. When Boy grows, they force him to kill animals due to his high strength. They show the police sheriff and deputies his strength also, who they are secretly working with to launder money. When Boy becomes a man, he gets tired of the abuse, taking a hammer and chainsaw and murdering both his parents, police sheriff, and many deputies, further slaughtering the remainder of animals on the farm, giving himself the name Max Thompson Jr. after his father. He lives on the farm until the surrounding areas become suspicious. When it is later investigated, Max Thompson Jr. is gone. Is raised by her mother, out in the wilderness. Anna is a young child when her mother is killed by an elk, after she throws herself in front of the elk to save Anna. After her mother's death, Anna continues to live in the woods alone, surviving off the land and killing those who enter into her territory. During the First World War, she kills multiple squadrons of soldiers, further stealing toys and other things from their corpses, which she gives to little girls who she steals from nearby villages. However, as she does not understand the needs of the girls she steals, they end up starving to death as she fails to feed them. Each time this happens, she crafts a mask to hide her tears. The story of the Huntress becomes a legend to the surrounding areas of the Red Forest, and a tale that children are told before they go to sleep. As sightings of the Huntress dwindle, she becomes more legend than fact.